Well, hello, fellow horror fans. Well, our look at the Friday the 13th franchise continues on, but sadly, the final entry, not the final entry, but, with the final Friday the 13th movie that was released by Paramount before they sold the rights over to New Line, and that is Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. So, here we go. 1 year after the events of the previous film, two graduating high school students are aboard a houseboat on Crystal Lake. Jim tells his girlfriend Susie the legend of Jason Voorhees, before playing a prank on her with a hockey mask and a prop knife. The boat's anchor damages some underwater cables, which shocks Jason's corpse and revives him. He sneaks on board, takes the mask, and kills Jim with a harpoon gun before impaling Susie with a barb. The next morning, the SS Lazarus is ready to set sail from New York City with a graduating senior class from Lakeview High School, chaperoned by biology teacher Dr. Charles McCulloch and English teacher Colleen Van Dusen. Sorry, I apologize if I mispronounced that. Van Dusen brings McCulloch's niece Rennie along for the trip despite her aquaphobia, much to his chagrin. Jason sneaks on board and kills rockstar wannabe JJ with her guitar. That night, a young boxer who lost his match to champion Julius Gaw is killed when Jason slams a hot sauna rock into his abdomen. Rennie, searching for her pet border collie Toby, discovers prom queen Tamara and go-girl Eva doing drugs. McCulloch nearly catches them moments later, and Tamara pushes Rennie overboard, suspecting she told on them. She uses video student Wayne to record McCulloch in a compromising situation with her, but rejects Wayne's advances afterward. Jason kills Tamara with a shard of broken mirror after she showers. Ugh. Rennie sees visions of a young Jason throughout the trip, but the others ignore the deckhand's warnings. Jason kills Captain Robertson and his first mate. Rennie's boyfriend and Captain Robertson's son, Sean, discovers them and tells the others before calling for an emergency. Eva finds Tamara's body and flees. At that moment, she meets Jason, who chases her. Eva enters the disco room where Jason follows and violently strangles her to death before throwing her body onto the dance floor. The students agree to search for Jason while McCulloch decides that the deckhand is responsible. However, the deckhand is found with a fire axe in his back. Jason tosses student Miles into the sea to his death, and Julius is knocked overboard as well. In the hold of the ship, Wayne comes upon JJ's body and is thrown into an electrical box by Jason. Wayne's corpse catches fire and causes the ship to sink off camera. With the other students dead, McCulloch, Van Dusen, Rennie, and Sean escape aboard a life raft and discover Toby and Julius are still alive. Interesting. They road to New York where Jason stalks them through the streets. Rennie's kidnapped by a pair of junkies, and the group splits up to find help. Shouldn't do that. Julius fights Jason, but becomes exhausted after Jason does not go down. He's decapitated by a single punch from Jason. Rennie escapes from Jason when he kills the punks that kidnapped her. She runs into Sean, and they reunite with the teachers and the police before Jason kills the officer who is helping them. Rennie crashes a police car after a vision of Jason distracts her. Van Dusen is incinerated and the carbon explodes, and it is revealed that McCulloch is responsible for Rennie's fear of water, having pushed her into the lake as a child. Jerk. They leave him behind, and Jason drowns him in a barrel of toxic waste. Good riddance. Jason chases Jenny and Sean into the subway. Sean incapacitates Jason by knocking him out onto the electrical third rail. When Jason revives, he chases them through Times Square and a diner. They flee into the sewers and encounter a worker. He warns them that the sewers will be flooded with toxic waste at midnight before Jason appears and kills the worker. Sean is injured, and Rennie draws Jason off, wounding him with a splash of acidic waste. Jason is forced to take off his mask, horrifying Rennie. She and Sean climb ladders. Jason staggers to get to them. Just as he is about to kill them, the sewers flood and engulf him. Rennie sees a final vision of a child form of Jason as the waste recedes. The two escape to the street, where they are reunited with Rennie's dog Toby, and the film ends. So let's look at the production of this movie, beginning with development. After the disappointing box office gross of Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, director Carl John Buechler began developing a follow-up which reprised the character of Tina Shepard again facing off against Jason Voorhees after her release from an insane asylum. Meanwhile, Lar Park Lincoln, who portrayed Tina Shepard, co-wrote, with her husband, an alternative screenplay which had Tina working as a psychologist for troubled girls. Lincoln's co-star in The New Blood, Kevin Spiritus, also wrote a screenplay which recast the events of The New Blood into A Long Dream, with his character as the killer. Paramount, however, opted to assign the project of a follow-up to writer-director Rob Hedden, marking his debut feature. A former employee of Universal Studios, Hedden strove to devise a screenplay in which the antagonist, Jason Voorhees, would travel outside the setting of Camp Crystal Lake, the primary location of the previous 7 films. The biggest thing we could do with Jason is to get him out of that stupid lake where he's been hanging out, Hedden said. One of Hedden's original ideas was to set the film solely aboard a cruise ship with Jason hiding in the lower levels, described by Hayden as, quote, a little bit of Das Boot and a little bit of Aliens, with a claustrophobic feeling, storm at sea, and that sort of stuff. The alternate concept was to place Voorhees in a large city, such as New York. Hedden commented, everything about New York was going to be completely exploited and milked. There was going to be a tremendous scene on the Brooklyn Bridge, a boxing match in Madison Square Garden, Jason would go through department stores, and go through Times Square, he'd go into a Broadway play, he'd even crawl onto the top of the Statue of Liberty and dive off. Yeah, I think it's glad that none of this stuff ever happened. Ultimately, after receiving approval from Paramount Pictures of both concepts, Hedden decided to combine them, with the first half of the film occurring aboard a ship, and the second on the streets of Manhattan. This decision was mainly due to budgetary restrictions from Paramount, as filming exclusively in New York City cost more than the studio was willing to spend. In addition to the shift in setting, Hedden stated he wanted to examine the character of Jason Voorhees as a child, which appears in the film in the form of hallucinations experienced by Rennie Wickham, the heroine. To conceal the fact that it was a Friday the 13th film, the initial script circulated under the title Ashes to Ashes. Now on to casting. Actress Jensen Daggett was cast as the lead of Rennie Wickham, being on Elizabeth Berkley and Pamela Anderson for the role. Scott Reeves was cast in the role of Sean Robertson at the last minute after the boosters felt the previously cast actor had no sexual chemistry with Daggett. The film marked the feature debut of actress Kelly Hu. Peter Mark Richmond was cast in the film as Charles McCulloch, the student's teacher and Rennie's uncle. Now on to filming. The film was shot at several locations in the United States, though the primary filming locations were British Columbia, Canada, particularly Vancouver. The alleyway scenes were shot in Vancouver. After filming wrapped in Los Angeles, the rest of the film was shot on locations in New York City, including Times Square. The Times Square sequences were shot while pedestrian onlookers observed the scenes and attracted numerous Friday the 13th fans. Kane Hodder, who portrayed Jason, recalled pointing at one fan in between takes, after which she fainted. According to Hedden, the cost of production in New York City was not feasible given the film's budget, which is why portions of it were shot elsewhere. The budget for the film was estimated at around $5 million. At the time, it was the most expensive film produced in the series. I can see why. Now on to the musical score. The film's musical score was composed by Fred Mullen, who worked with longtime Friday the 13th producer Harry Manfredini on the previous installment. Jason Takes Manhattan was the first film in the series not to feature Manfredini credited on the score. On September 27, 2005, BSX Records released a limited edition CD of Fred Mullen's Friday the 13th Part 7 and 8 scores. The song, The Darker Side of the Night, performed by Metropolis, plays over the opening and ending credits to the film. Rob Hedden specifically wanted them to write a song reminiscent of Robert Plant. The song would not see an official release until the year 2000 on the album The Power of the Night. The song Broken Dream, which J.J. jams along to on electric guitar, was written by Mullen and Stan Meisner, sorry if I mispronounced that, and featured Terry Crawford on vocals. The instrumental JJ's Blues was written by Meissner. The two songs remained popular among fans, and when a fan inquired to Meissner about whether they can be released, he responded that no complete versions of the songs were ever recorded, as they were intended for release outside the film. Despite this, a longer instrumental version of the track plays during the club scene in Forever Night Season 1, Episode 1. And now on to the legacy of this movie. Gee, I can't believe this one actually has a legacy. In 2007, Entertainment Weekly labeled Jason Takes Manhattan as the 8th worst sequel ever made. In 2018, Scott Missel GQ wrote that the film was among the most stylish in the Friday the 13th series, adding, "Here's the secret about Jason Takes Manhattan. Despite the false advertising of the title, it's actually a pretty good Friday the 13th movie. A cruise ship may not be as exciting a setting as Manhattan, but it's still a lot more interesting than yet another string of gruesome murders at a summer camp, and the inherent claustrophobia of the boat only grows as the corpses keep showing up on the deck. And when the few survivors finally make it to Manhattan, with Jason hot on their heels, the movie has an apparently wicked sense of humor about New York City, as jaded diner patrons and subway passengers shrug up Jason as just another weirdo walking the streets." Yeah, that's definitely how they would react to Jason, but hey, that's just my own opinion. So overall, yeah, this is definitely a low point in the franchise for me, and well, I'm just happy that New Line decided to take the franchise away from Paramount and do their own things with it, so there you go. Plus, hey, I finally got Freddy vs. Jason out of it, so can't go wrong with that. So overall, I give Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, 1 jack-o'-lantern out of 5. Well, tune in on Monday as we take a look at the first entry, well, not the first entry, but the first film of the franchise that was released by New Line, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. So, until then,